I will fold the width of my paper. I'll fold it in two. Then after folding it, we are going to get our top line for the sleeve. So I'm going to be using 1/2 inch here. Okay, let me use 1 inch.
There's no basic, there's
Ma?
no basic measurement for that.
No. Then even for the, if you know, for the other ones, I just use those ones for just for teaching purpose. You can decide to use, because you are coming up by 1/2 inch. You can decide to use 1/2 inch. You can decide to use 1 inch. What I use is 1 inch most times, but if I'm teaching, I use 2 inch. So this is our top line. Then I'm going to connect it. I'm going to connect it with a line. So after doing this, I'm going to get my length, my sleeve length. Now my sleeve length is 24, I think. So now 23. My upper arm is 23, and my underarm is upper arm, the one that will measure from here to here, while the underarm is the one that will measure from here to here. So my underarm is 18. I'm going to give us 5.
Difference.
Yes. So now this difference is what we are going to use as our bicep line. You understand? So this is going to be the bicep length. The bicep length. So now if for you now, maybe your upper arm is 24 and your underarm is let's say 17. The difference is what we are going to use for your bicep line. So mine is 5. Confirm more. Yes, 18. So I'm going to mark it.
5.
Yes.
Instead of top line, breast, I mean, for the bust.
This is the bicep.
I'm only saying the
Okay, okay. So this is going to be our bicep line. So the next one we are going to get is our elbow line, which is the shoulder to elbow. So from the top line
measuring from here.
here, yes.
Elbow line.
Yes. So the next one we are going to get is the sleeve length, which is 23. So if you want to measure it, you're going to get your bicep circumference, then you add your ease, which is 1 inch, and divide it by 2. So my bicep circumference is 13, then 1 inch, which is the ease, and I divided it by 2, which is making it 14. I divided by 2, making it 7. That's what I got there. Now for the elbow line is the same thing. Your elbow circumference plus your ease divide by 2. My elbow is 11 plus ease, making it 1. Then I divided it by 2, making it 6. Now for the hemline, which is the wrist, we don't add allowance because it doesn't need any ease. It doesn't need any ease. So what I did is I just measure my circumference straight, which is 9. I divided it by 2, making it 4.5. So the next thing I'm going to do is to connect. I'm going to connect all those points. I'm going to connect them with a straight line. As you can see here, I'm connecting them with my ruler. Then the next thing I'm going to do is to connect the point in my bicep line at my bicep line. I'm going to connect it to the tip of the top line at the sleeve. I will connect it together with a slant line. So after doing that, the next thing I'm going to do is to divide that slant line. I'm going to divide that slant line into 4. Yes, I'm going to divide the slant line into 4. So I'm going to measure, I'll use my tape rule to measure it, then I will divide it by 4. So after doing that, I'm going to indicate them by marking the line. So the next thing I'm going to do is to use my tracing wheel to trace out all my lines on the paper under. Don't forget that we folded the paper into 2. We folded it into 2. So, and what we have been measuring is the half of the measure of our measurements. So I'm going to transfer everything to the paper underneath. So after doing that, I'm going to open up my paper. Then all the lines that I traced out, I will use my pencil to draw out all the lines. So after doing that, the next thing that we are going to get is our armhole curve. We cannot use the straight line to get our armhole curve. That is the reason why we divided into 2 to get our armhole curve. We are going to use it to form a curve to get our armhole curve because our armhole is not straight. It is curvy. So the next thing I'm going to do is the next thing I'm going to do is to label. I'm going to label my sleeve. I'll label my front and back sleeve. So this is the back and this is the front sleeve. So after labeling, so for the back, I'm going to come up by 5/8. I'll come up by 5/8. Then for the second line, for the second point, I will come up by 2/8. And for the third point, I'm going to go in. I'll come down by 3/8. Now I'm going to do the same thing for the front, but with different measurement. For the first mark, I'm coming up by 6/8. The second mark, I'm coming up by 1/8. And the third mark, I'm coming down by 4/8. So after doing that, I'm going to use my armhole curve. I'll use my armhole curve to connect all the lines. So watch as I'm going to do it because it is very tricky. I'll connect the first two lines together using the curviest part of my armhole curve. I'll do the same thing for the back. So after doing that, I'm going to turn it. Just watch as how I'm turning it. I'm turning it that way, this way, and connect the point, the last point. I'll connect it to the second point, to the bicep points, where the bicep points meet. I'm going to do that for both the front and the back. So yeah, this is it. We have gotten our armhole shape, but it is not complete because for the bodies we always measure. So now that we have gotten our full sleeve, the next thing we are going to do is, you see this armhole curve, most of the time it is not always equal. If you remember when we did basic bodies, our basic bodies for the armhole, we measure it to confirm the armhole. And when if the armhole is smaller, the armhole on the actual armhole and the actual armhole is smaller than the armhole on paper, we are going to measure and adjust it to fit the original armhole. So what we are going to do here now is we are going to also do the same here. We are going to measure and check if the armhole is corresponding to the armhole on the bodies, because we've written it down on the bodies. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to cut out the next thing we are going to do, we are going to cut out all the excess paper. So the next thing we are going to do after cutting out is to measure. We are going to measure the armhole. Now we are going to start from the back. For the back, my armhole for the back is 9. So this is where the line is, and I'll label it back. Then for the front it is 8/6/8. That's 8 and 3/4. 8 3/4. So I'm going to measure it here. And I'm going to mark it. So after doing this, the next thing we are going to do is, as you can see, there is a little bit of space. here. So this space, what you're going to do is you're going to try to eliminate this space. Now, when it comes to altering the armhole, it is divided into two for the sleeve. Now, there's sometimes that when you measure, your front will be around the back side, while the back will be around the front side. It is going to be overlapping. What it means is that it is small. The armhole for the sleeve is smaller than the actual armhole. So, like what I will demonstrate for the two. I'll demonstrate for the two alterations. So let's say our armhole is smaller on the sleeve. Our armhole is overlapping on the sleeve. What are we going to do? What we are going to do is we are going to slash the middle of the armhole of the sleeve. We are going to slash it. Then we are going to slash through the bicep. This applies to the two this applies to the two alterations, whether your armhole is the armhole on the sleeve is bigger or it is smaller. It applies for the two. Now, after doing this, the next thing we are going to do, we are going to place it on a paper. Then after placing on a paper, the next thing we are going to do, as you can see here, okay, now let me use this to explain. Okay, so what you are going to do is you are going to overlap, we are going to spread it. Now, we are going to spread, after spreading, we are going to tape it down. Now, this is for a sleeve that for the armhole of the sleeve that is overlapping. Now, as you are slashing, as you are spreading, make sure that the edges of the bicep line is flat. If it is not flat, it means that you didn't slash it to the tip. You make sure that you don't cut it through and it is remaining a little, very, very little. So now after doing this, we are going to connect this way. Then you are going to remeasure. You remeasure for the front and mark. Then you measure for the back. Let's say this is where the front is. You label it. Okay, this is the front. You remeasure for the back, and if you measure and there is still space, what you do is you open this up, and you reduce it. That is how you do it. Then, if as this space is there is a the ammo is bigger than the actual ammo on the bodies. What you are going to do is now, if you notice, you see that this the measurement, they did not fall around the middle. They fall at the front side of the sleeve. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure the middle. Now, if your measurement fall around, maybe the back is here, the front is here, you don't need this method. If it falls and the back measurement, it falls around the back area, and the front measurement falls around the front area. All you have to do is you just cut the middle and use those points, the point where it is, and you connect them. But now that the back and the front sleeve, they are around the front area, what you are going to do is this point you are going to measure. So I'm going to measure this is 2/8. So I'll get the middle and I will mark. When I get the middle, what I'm going to do is I will connect it to the center. I'll connect it to the center of the bicep. Now, after connecting it, what I'm going to do is I will slash through, I'm going to slash through that line. Then these 2 points, I'll bring them together. You make sure that they are touching. Then I'm going to use my paper tape. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. Share to your friends, to whom is going to be helpful to. See you in another class. Thank you. So that is it for the sleeve. Your sleeve is ready to go. So I'm going to go ahead and take it and place it on my fashion fabric and cut it. Then I'll bring it back. So here I've already cut it. Now when you are cutting, you add your 1 inch allowance, your 1 inch sewing allowance. The reason why I added half inch here was because it is a stretching material. If you are sewing a stretching material, please don't add 1 inch, add half inch sewing allowance. Then when you are cutting for the armhole, you add half inch too. So guys, this is the end of my video. Please like, share and subscribe.